Even if the words don't come out, they're here inside my head, stuck inside my mouth. I don't do this often, you caught me off guard. All of my friends said you moved out west. You tell me stories underneath sunsets. Could it be more than just one night? Kissing the cab ride, head turning left, right. Get a ticket for two to wherever you choose. Drinking some red out of the blue. You say my name with your accent, makes me remember how much I missed you. Hope you're planning to stay for a million days. You'll be my summer in December. Hey boy, trust my intuition.
Hello, everyone, and we are back here in the Reef Slight League on the playoffs. Although we couldn't see Game 1, it was a win for the Bargain Bunch. The Bargain Bunch managed to pull off their comp better, and the Mind Goblins just could not manage to withstand their pressure.
Yeah. It's a turn up for the Bucks from Bargain Bunch. Like, coming into this, they're the bottom seed. Everyone's looking at them like, oh, they're against Mind Goblins. They don't have... maybe they can win, but it's unlikely. And then they pull the first game like that. But it's unfortunate you couldn't see it, because what a game it was. Son of Two Dog on the Sol, punching absolute numbers. I know my fellow caster was mentioning Banjo on the Nike, was like just shoving his face into the entire team.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we are ready for picks and bans now, so we can sort of see what we are not ready for picks and bans, if that makes sense. So when I said we are ready for picks and bans, that was a straight up lie from me. Yeah, Banjo just on the Nike jungle just made an insane amount of space, and Spooky, despite building double defense Book of the Dead, just could not live on this raw pick. He couldn't get away from the Nike in time, and the whole team just sort of collapsed on them. The Banjo, I think important to mention, coming into this tournament as 8th seed, the exact same thing he did last season. Obviously, he was on Micromanagement, now he's on Bargain Bunch. Micromanagement went against Dynamite in Season 4 of Reap and managed to sweep out the first... Not sweep out, they 2-1 the first seed team, and looks like Banjo's looking to try to do that again. And I think you cannot underestimate how much the Nike did, how much the Soul did. Although, again, we could, sadly, Spectator decided to be the worst person in the room today. We couldn't get to see it, but it was a really good set. If you can find a stream, I think Two Dog streamed it. I think you could go watch his VOD maybe later after you watch our amazing cast. But amazing game by the Bargain Bunch. They played the map super well. Their picks did what they were supposed to, and just everyone on this team just played so well. And it's also...
Please carry on. It's just an absolute off. My apologies. Please.
No, you're good. Go. I will not speak this time.
Just an absolute clinic performed by Bargain Bunch. Even with an SDL sub from the Nocturnal League, pulling an absolute insane performance on that Sun Wukong. It's hard to say that Sun Wukong's really safe, but you've got to remember Nocturnal's an SDL player coming into an RSL set as a sub. That's a big step. So you can see it in the difference between the league games between SDL and RSL. That is an incredible performance for him that, although wasn't the shining star of his team, should probably be talked about because of how well he performed.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to sort of give it up to Noct. Even like coming in playing Sun Wukong, a character that's not necessarily the meta, you're playing against an Ardio, and even more so, you're playing against Yuri on the Ardio. Those are just strong picks in general. It just, even though he wasn't the person who necessarily won them this game, you cannot underestimate how easy it could have been for him to be the person to lose them this game. And he just did not do that. He didn't even die a single time in the set, which was just good. So now we're here in picks and bans. So Mind Goblins, once again, has opted for first pick. They don't necessarily think the pick order is what necessarily got them wrong, and going straight into this Geb ban. Any bans you would particularly like to see, Ian?
If I'm Mind Goblins, I'm banning the Soul and I'm banning the Nike. I do not want those getting through into game 2. That was an incredible performance on those two gods, piloted almost clinically with how well they did. And there it is. There's the Nike ban. I wouldn't be surprised if this is followed up by a Soul ban. I really wouldn't.
Absolutely. The Nike and the Soul just played so well in that game 1, and I think you will have to risk maybe giving the Kali over or giving over the Cthulhu, but I think those are both risks. And then again, here we see the Soul ban. Obviously,
Yep.
Mind Goblin saying, yep, those were the two issues. Let's see what else they got.
Yep, you've got to do it if you're Mind Goblins. You can't let these gods go through again. Those gods ran through your team, and they won them that game. And it's hard to put it down to one player because they all played so well. But just an incredible job from Bargain Bunch.
Yeah, absolutely. And then here we see the Persephone ban, a character that, although Spooky Mars hasn't necessarily played a lot of, Persephone can still be really strong in this meta. And then we see the Achilles first pick, possibly predicting a Cthulhu from the Bargain Bunch and saying, we'd prefer the Achilles over the Cthulhu. We want the pressure that Achilles brings, and trying to maybe bait them to pick this Cthulhu, which they do, although the Cthulhu is a strong pick, and it's one of Nox's best characters.
I'm a monster!
The Cthulhu being picked into his counter matchup, I think Nocturnal's just like, I saw what you had to bring, Yuri. RSL All-Star or not, I'm going to show you that I deserve to be an RSL. I'm going to show you that no matter who you are, I will play my game and I will show you how good I am.
Yeah, absolutely. And the second mage being picked being a Scylla, definitely a really interesting pick because you have two really late game characters already. And then we see the Kepri come out from the Mind Goblins, safe support, has a dash, allows them to get out, and then a Disco Hover, a character that was banned away from Spooky Mars during the second phase of bans. He's saying, okay, we got to pick it up now, even if that means that now Killjoy or Dummy is more open to being banned against.
You've got to remember that the Achilles can be flexed into the jungle. We've seen it before. I believe Dubby Slick has played it before as well. So this could be a pick for the jungle, and that will definitely weigh on the Bargain Bunch's mind when going into the second round.
Yeah, absolutely. The Achilles can be a flex pick, although I think it's definitely better in solo, in my personal opinion. I think there are better junglers. Dummy has an amazing Susano. He has a really good Circat, a really good Kama, and I don't necessarily think the Kama was the reason they lost that last game. I think the Achilles could flex, which it could be a really big pick. Maybe they look to pick up the Ardio again, even though it didn't win. I think the Ardio is still a really strong character. And then finally, we see this Jing Chen pick. Jing Chen, a character that, although it hasn't been picked very much recently, is still a good pick.
Yeah. In the support role, you're looking at banning beads, and if you don't ban beads, Scylla late game is going to pop you. Like if you're a squishy getting altered, but like getting that whirlwind of rage and steel, you're going to be thrown into a Scylla crush or I'm a monster, and that is curtains for most squishies right there. That's an easy 1k plus damage.
Interestingly enough, we see the Robin ban come out for the Bargain Bunch, and then Mind Goblins ban out the Kali and the Awilix. All three characters that do super well into the Scylla. I think if you're looking for three junglers that counter Scylla, it is those three. And now we see Banjo picking the Erlong. So I think Erlong kind of counters the pressure, and this Scylla doesn't necessarily have an easy matchup, although I personally think that Susano can work and Thana can work. I think those are probably going to be the two junglers that Dummy is looking at.
Yeah, Susano being one of Dummy's personal favourites. every time he plays it, it's a delight to see because of how clinically precise he is. He's almost like a surgeon cutting up the enemy team whenever he plays a Susano. Should be interesting to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we see, the Scotty gets banned out, one of Killjoy's particular picks. And we see the Hoagie lock in finally. In the final slot, one of Muffin Man's priority picks. I would personally assume that this is more of a takeaway from Muffin rather than a pick for Killjoy. Although Killjoy is a really good Hoagie, I think he shines more on some of the characters like Heim. He shines on AMC sometimes. He shines on Chiron. All three of those characters I would personally associate a little more with Killjoy, but I think the Hoagie is still a really good pick here, especially when you know Muffin Man plays it.
And Muffin Man is looking at running back the Apollo. Just a note for anyone watching the stream that might be a bit new and doesn't know all of these players, Pizza Butt, or Pink Maiden, as his IGN is Muffin. Like the Apollo is Muffin Man, the owner of the league.
Yeah, absolutely. I apologize, I did not mention that before. I think this comp that Bargain Bunch ran is quite similar to the one they ran in Game 1. I think the core of we're going to have a jungler that sorts of run at you and just has warrior stats. The Scylla is going to be a character that, although has a lot less pressure than the Soul, can still deal as much, well, actually a lot more damage than the Soul once come late game. They have a lot of setup for the Scylla as well. I think you can Jing Chen knock up, you can Sky Uppercut that is, into like Scylla Crush, Scylla damage. You have Erlong Pin, you have Jing Chen ult, you have Cthulhu knock up, you have Apollo Mez. Apollo Mez also can double as backline safety if Two Dog and Pink Maiden Muffin Man are standing close to each other. I think that the comp from Bargain Bunch looks really good, but I also think the Mind Goblin comp looks fairly good. What do you think, Big Ian? Which comp do you think has the advantage? What do you sort of think about these two teams and their comps?
I feel that in terms of purely comp, I like the Bargain Bunch's comp. It's tried and true for them, triple front line, just having lots of tanky people in front of high damage from the back line. But we can't discount the fact that they've got an Achilles and they've got a Capri. Because those two gods are really, really good into this comp. You've got the Scarab's Blessing to maybe just go, right, I'm going to ult you now. Scylla may burst you, but you're going to be resurrected. Cthulhu can ult in your face, yes, but as long as Killjoy's doing his job and just banning a Cthulhu, that execute's just going to take you out. So I'd say Bargain Bunch have the advantage in these teamfight stages because the Cthulhu pressure with the Descent into Madness, the Whirlwind of Rage and Steel, the Nanten's Blessing from Airline, that's a lot of pressure being put out. That's a lot of space creation, that's a lot of heavy CC already racking up. But it's hard to really discount Mind Goblins. Even though they lost the game 1, it's hard to say, oh, they're going to lose game 2. Yes, it'll weigh on their mentals, but you can't discount Mind Goblins' first seed team, as we've previously mentioned. They're still a good team at the end of the day. But this is playoffs. Anything can happen.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I also prefer a lot of these picks with the players in mind on the Mind Goblins. I much prefer Dummy Susano over his Kama. Not that his Kama's bad by any means. I think it's still really good, but I prefer his Susano over it. I think I prefer Spooky Mars' Discordia over his Ra. I think both of those characters specifically are going to be a lot stronger than the Kama Ra they picked last game, and I think that will allow their core 2v2 to sort of make it through the early game, which they weren't allowed to in the last set. I think the Achilles is really good into Cthulhu. I think Khepri Loiter played really well on the Khepri in game 1. I think we kind of want to take that away if we're the Mind Goblins. I think if we're the Bargain Bunch, we're like, okay, yeah, they picked Khepri. They did not Thanatos, though, so I think the Khepri doesn't have an easy solution to it. I think Hoagie, a good character just all around, can burn Cthulhu very well. Discordia, another character who can burn Cthulhu very well. I think the Mind Goblins has a lot more of what I consider their identity rather than their last. I think their last comp had a lot more, we back off, we sustain, then we re-engage. We're looking for one specific freeze. I think this team comp is a lot more what I would expect from the Mind Goblins. But I also think the Bargain Bunch has an amazing comp, so I think this game is really up in the air. I think it's all going to come down from who can pressure out the other team earlier and how they transition that lead. I think both teams have just amazing late game characters, whether it be Discordius Asano or whether it be Scylla Cthulhu. I think at the end of the day, both teams have good late games, and I think it's going to really depend where and how the early game shifts.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. It's hard to say right now which team's going to win. It's definitely all going to come down to who plays better.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, hopefully we get to see game 2, but Spectator is still not letting us in. I think we're going to take a brief pause now, and we'll be back hopefully when we're in game 2.
I'm bad at pretending, you know I'll be true. Sunday mornings and midnight lights, turning to songs that you watch me write. Stole your sweater on that night, you took a picture, keep by my bedside. So you're mine when you're gone, baby, please don't be long. I got my ticket to the west side. You say my name with your accent, makes me remember how much
All right. No more bad news from the Reach Smite League. We cannot get into Game 2 either. So apologies to all of the Reach Smite fans at home. We are just not going to be able to be streaming this first set.
Yeah, it feels bad, and like, I'm fairly sure everyone who knows, like, it's just after patch, so obviously there's going to be a few kinks to work out. And unfortunately, one of those kinks is the Spectate client. However, I know a lot of you are going to be interested in watching how Game 2 goes and how this set ultimately turns out. So, anyone who's interested, there are free streams going on currently. You can either watch Killjoy, the ADC for the Mind Goblins, you can watch Spooky Mars, POV, who is the mid laner for Mind Goblins, or you can watch from the other side of the fence and go and watch Son of Two Dogs stream, the mid laner of Bargain Bunch. If you still are interested, please go and watch them and show them some love. That's all from us, unfortunately, for now. If anything comes up and we're able to show you these games at any rate, we will do. We will keep you informed. Thank you all for watching, and once again, we are very sorry for not being able to show you this set tonight. That's all from me. I'm Big Ian. Joining me on the cast is Alex, and a shout out to Vile, who is trying incredibly hard to try and get this to work for you all.
All right.
Does manage to peek away.
That's gonna be a doggy out.
There is one
Chains too.
That's gonna be our guess.
He smells him out. And a good Kraken will steal the Oni Fury.
I don't think so. Popping oh on it.
He steals it with the national.
Steals it.
Kappa just.
Dookie's in trouble. The heart bomb.
He is in trouble, but down there by Cowboy Chip.
No!
He can't do that. But oh, Skipper
But he
tried
can't-
to go after it.
He can't run the auto.
No tilting. You're all just pumped up, ready for game number 2. You're all talking to each other.
But this Phoenix under siege. Phoenix is at half. Jobek taken out. Section Cannon taken out by Turbog.
Haley, you still don't win that fight. No, no!
And that means they're leaving this emoji up that Breezy played in game 1, which I thought looked really good. I think he pilots it very well.
Yeah, 2 halves. There you go. We got those 2 brain cells. We can talk about 2 different things now. Well, we working on.
And Zero Easy Does It is going to be focused on, and we're going to see a quadra kill.
And he is. Looks like he's gonna go down. Haley did use the ult already?
No.
Oh, the impale! He's insane!
And now, Juan's gonna be subject to the Rama ult, both on target. What a great snipe